Hey everyone, welcome to class. Today's flow is all about the core and the pelvic floor, but in a different way than we're used to thinking about it. So this is obviously pregnancy safe. And whether you're pregnant or not though, this is excellent for just tapping into that core awareness that we want to have when we're moving through any yoga sequence, when we're moving through any workout. It's important to be able to know when our core is on and to train it in such a way that makes sense from a functional standpoint, not just a fitness standpoint, because as we know, functional is foundational. And without that, your level of fitness will suffer if you don't have a solid foundation to build on. So what we're going to need today is a block. It's optional, but I recommend having it nearby just in case, especially if you are pregnant. It will help. So we are going to begin with a few rounds of cat-cow. So you'll notice that I might cue a little bit for pregnancy just as a side note, but again, this is not exclusive to pregnant people. Just ignore if it doesn't apply to you. So find tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under the hips. And as you exhale, I just want you to round the back, tuck the tailbone, drop the head. And as you inhale, gently bring the chest through and maybe look up. Do this a few times, rounding as you exhale. Inhaling as you come through. Let's do two more each way. Last one. Come back to neutral in your tabletop. We're going to take a few diaphragmatic breaths from in this shape. So wrists are still under shoulders, knees are still under the hips. I want you to keep the spine nice and long and neutral. And as you inhale, I want you to visualize letting the belly expand down towards your mat and feel the rib cage expand all the way around. Now, as you exhale, gently draw the pelvic floor up as you bring the navel up towards the rib cage. Inhale, expand. Expanding and relaxing. Exhale, draw up and slightly in. Inhale, relax. Exhale, draw in and up. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Come back to neutral. So two options. We're going to come to hero or a modification of hero. So where your knees are together and your feet come apart and you're just going to sit your butt between the feet. Now, if this is very uncomfortable, just sit up on a block. It's the same idea, just with, slightly less intensity. So one of the things that I think gets ignored often when thinking about pelvic floor health is, and core in general, is actually internal rotation of the hip. It can really help tone the pelvic floor, but it's not something we often think about. So hero is a good, somewhat passive way to do that. We're just going to take a moment here. And if you are pregnant, a fun fact about internal rotation of the hip is that it actually opens the lower part of the pelvis, which is very key to having a, smooth, uneventful birth. Of course, we can't control all aspects of that process, but something that is good to do, stuff like that. Give me two more deep breaths. And we're going to bring it back to tabletop. You can move your block if you were using it. And we're going to make a few circles with the left hip. So just bring the hip open and around. I'm going counterclockwise here. 2, we're gonna do 6, 3, try not to rock side to side. 4, nice and slow. 5, and 6. Now just go the other way for 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step the left foot all the way to the outside of the left hand. Help it along if you need. So here's another point where you might want your block just to rest the hands. We're kind of in a wide low lunge or lizard. Bring your block under the hands if you feel like it helps. So try to keep some integrity through the hips here. Don't just sag straight down and be too passive, but you want to activate the back leg just a touch, just a little bit. Continue to breathe. Go ahead and sit up. You're going to turn towards the long edge of your mat. So the left toes are facing the top of your mat and the right foot is off the back end. So I'm kind of in like a funky lunge. My torso is facing the long edge. So from here, you're going to sink your weight over into the left leg, drop down and come up. Drop down and come up. That's 2, 3, we're going real slow. 4, relax the pelvic floor as you come down. 5, hold on 6. So on that last one, just kind of sink down. Again, you can use your block if it's helpful. You can lean the torso forward just a little bit, but try to keep that left knee tracking over the second toe. So don't let the knee collapse in. With each inhale, try to relax the pelvic floor. With each exhale, gently draw in and up. Go ahead and sit back up to where we started here. Turn your left foot so that the pinky edge of your foot is in line with the front of your mat. Your back toes are going to tuck, or your right toes are going to tuck under. So you can bring your hands to the floor. My couch is in the way, so I'm just going to bring my hands to my couch. But if you have furniture nearby, you can do this too. So hands on the floor, or if you're using a prop, that's fine too. You're going to push your hips straight back. So this is like an adductor rock back. You should feel this in the inner left thigh, maybe a little bit in the inner right thigh, kind of depends, but more in the left. Rock forward and rock back. We're going to go to 6 and then pause on 6. 3, nice and slow. 4, 5. Last one, sit your butt back and hold on 6. Try to keep the left foot flat on the mat. So the toes are not facing the sky, the foot is down. Go ahead and press up to the hands. Slide the left knee in. Turn back towards the front of your mat and find downward facing dog if that's comfortable. If you'd rather find child's pose, that works too. Just lift the hips high, pedal at the feet just a touch. And you can be still. You can shift your weight side to side, whatever works. Find some stillness there. And when you're ready, glide forward, come back to tabletop. We're going to do all of that on the other side. So now moving over to the right side, we're going to make circles with that right knee. You're going to go clockwise first for 6, 5. Try to keep the weight evenly distributed between the hands and the left knee. 3, 2, 1. And now go the other way. Again, you're moving slowly, mindfully, with intention. 3, 4, 5, 6. So now let's step the right foot to the outside of the right wrist. Prop yourself up on the block if you're using it, or you can keep your hands down under the shoulders. We're just going to hold here. Keep a little bit of activation in the back leg just so you're not sagging too heavily straight down. Take one more breath in and a full breath out. Go ahead and shift your weight back a little bit. So we're going to adjust. So the right toes are pointing straight ahead. Your left knee is mostly under the hip and the back toes are facing the long edge of the mat. So we're going to shift straight over for 6. Nice and slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, and the last one I want you to hold. So if you want to use your block just for a little extra support, of course you can. Don't need to. Keep in mind, right knee is still tracking over the second toe. So you could even use your elbow to kind of press the hip open a little bit if that's helpful. Take 2 more slow breaths. Go ahead and sit up. So now your right foot is going to turn so the pinky edge is in line with the front edge of your mat. And tuck the back toes under. So those adductor rock backs. You can use a block, use a couch, or just put your hands on the floor. You're going to shift your weight back for 6. Come forward. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one, I want you to hold. So sit back and hold. Try to keep the right foot flat on the mat. Plant the hands. Just take the right knee down and swing the right foot to the back of your mat. Find downward facing dog just for a few breaths. And again, you can move around if that feels good, or you can stay still, just whatever feels right today. Breathe. And shift your weight forward. We're going to come into that hero pose again. So whether you modify it by sitting on the block or you just sit normally right between the ankles, remember knees are together, feet come apart, and you can snuggle the hips right in between the feet. You feel like a little bit warmer now. Or again, you can sit up on a block. That is completely fine. Just try to keep the spine neutral. Breathe. Open the eyes, lean forward on the hands. Just bring the feet right underneath the hips. Have a seat on the heels. Gently bring the hands up to the heart center. Let the eyes blink open. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this quick flow. Great for the pelvic floor, great for the core, setting a nice functional foundation for yourself. Now, if you like this class, there's a full-length version of it inside Studio BYS or Bad Yogi Studio. This is where all of my full-length classes live. There are over 400 of them, something for every mood, all intended to give you a pain-free functional body. So tap the link below in the description and you'll get a free 7-day trial. I hope to see you there. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this class, you will love Bad Yogi Studio. Make yoga your new morning ritual. With hundreds of classes just under 30 minutes, the perfect amount of time to kickstart your day and start everything off on a high note. Welcome to class. I would love to see you inside Bad Yogi Studio with me, so tap the link below and get your free 14-day trial. I'll see you there.